Welcome back to Big Fish in the Middle Kingdom, part of the Migration Media Network. I'm Brendan Davis, your host, and this week's guest is a really interesting guy. It is Jan Smejkal, and he tells me in the interview that is a pretty decent pronunciation of his name, I guess. He grew up in a small village in the Czech Republic, but he has now become something of a leader in the startup world, to say the least, based out of Shenzhen, China. Jan is a successful founder himself. He took an exit on a company he started in college, and he now runs the world's largest entrepreneurial community, which is Startup Grind, in China and throughout the Asia-Pacific region for them. Jan also hosts an event that he calls The Dinner down in Shenzhen, which is a conversational salon type of a dinner party with a really highly curated group of guests. And the list of people he's hosted at these dinners, or otherwise served as a bridge for here in Asia, is a real who's who of the entrepreneurial world, ranging from kind of local bigwigs to international players like Peter Attia, who I'm a big fan of. I've read several of his books. Peter Attia, for instance, has been named one of the world's 50 greatest leaders by Fortune magazine, and these are the kinds of people who Jan is interfacing with, which is pretty awesome. We recorded this show a while back. It was the day after a big event that Startup Grind co-sponsored with OTech, and we talk about that a little bit in the show as well. One note about the grinding nature of the hardcore startup community: this was on a Sunday, and Jan was coming here from another series of morning and lunch meetings, and he had the head of Startup Grind Beijing, Yelta, with him, and I hope to have Yelta on the show as well at a future date. And we had a really great and action-packed chat, but between something that came up beforehand and the traffic and their next appointment, we had a really tight window. So this is about a 20-minute interview with Jan, but I think this is a really nice introduction to the guy, as well as giving you the real true flavor of the startup lifestyle. Now, also one note is that I am launching a brand new show in just a few weeks. I'm going to have a special edition of the Big Fish Side Dish coming up soon to announce it and talk all about it, so stay tuned for that. Please keep your eyes out for that. A quick reminder that Big Fish in the Middle Kingdom is sponsored by the Complete Podcasting course with Brendan Davis on udemy.com. You can check it out. You can find links in the show notes, as well as get a discount coupon by messaging me. So if you are interested in starting a podcast or improving one that you're already doing and you think I could help, please do check it out. But now please enjoy the show with Jan Smejkal. All right, well, I am here with the very shy and retiring Jan Smejkal. How are you, Jan?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being had. And how was that as far as an attempt at not mangling your name horribly?
Well, actually, this is like one of the best pronunciations I've ever heard, from somebody that I met basically 16 hours ago.
Well, that's fantastic to hear, man. Thanks so much. And we'll talk about how we met, but for the sake of the listeners, please give me the short version of who you are, where you're from, and for you, why China, and then we will unpack it and get into the
Absolutely.
details.
Well, thank you so much once again for having me, and it's kind of crazy because we're on the road now in Beijing and I'm leaving tomorrow, but I appreciate that you took the time. Sunday.
It works for me. I grab them when I can.
Yeah, so I really appreciate it. So I'm from Czech Republic. I have been in China for around 3.5 years. I got here first at the end of 2014 through two main reasons why I got to China. One is business, because my very first venture or business that I built was an e-commerce business that I started with my co-founder or friend or classmate in the Czech Republic, and we were trading stuff from China, Xiaomi phones, accessories, power banks, getting it into Czech Republic and selling it online in Czech Republic and Slovakia. So that was the first thing. The second thing was university, because at that point I was still at the university and I was figuring out like, hey, I want to go to China because I have a business, but at the same time, how can I get there? I was asking myself that question, right? And so because I was still at the university, I wanted to leverage the fact. And so I applied for exchange program at the university in China. I got accepted. Everything was good. I got scholarship. And, that was the easiest way to get to Shenzhen, where I actually, have lived since the very beginning. And so yeah, two reasons why I got to China, and I've been here for 3.5 years.
Fantastic. So now, are you based in Shenzhen currently?
Yeah, so as I said, I have lived, ever since I got to China, I've lived in Shenzhen. And I'm recently, maybe past year, I've been traveling a lot as well. Like I go to Beijing, Shanghai, Chengdu, Hangzhou, and all the other places quite a bit. And also around Asia and around the world, because the nature of my work, and we can talk about later what I do, but basically it gives me a lot of opportunities to go everywhere, speak at conferences, meet different people and stuff like that. So I've been traveling a lot, but yes, Shenzhen is my base still.
Well, sometimes on this show, I mean, I have a wide variety of guests on, and we talked about a few of the guests I've had who you know or know, like Steve Hoffman.
Yes.
And that's actually sort of a related to how we actually met. But sometimes I have people who just have an interesting story, and they're kind of in this process of discovery. You're here on a focused mission. Why are you here?
Well, kind of, right? Like now it seems focused, but when I first got here, I didn't know anything, right? Like I just got into China. I wanted to do a business, but we did the business. But after 6 months or 8 months, if I'm not mistaken, me being in China, I sold the 50% share of that first company, because we're kind of like, it wasn't like really, really like harmonic relationship with my co-founder, because like, we built it together in Czech Republic, but then I moved to China, and there was some sort of communication problems that like you're maybe not bringing enough value to the business anymore, and so like how are we gonna do it? And so I don't like these conversations, honestly. Like I'm a very nice guy, and like I know that I build a business, I maybe deserve more in the business, but at the same time, like, hey, if you don't feel that we should work together, then let's not work together. Let's still be friends. Let's do maybe business together in a different way. But like I don't want to fight with you over bullshit every single day. And so we basically ended up separating. So I sold the share in the company. And then like I was trying to just find myself too, I was like, I sold the share. I'm studying at the university. But like, boy, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 3 years. And so I was just doing what I know the best, or what I like the best, was just meeting people. So I started going to events like every single week, 3 different events, different like Chinese corners and stuff. And I was meeting people, talking to people, providing value, connecting people. And one of the organizations that I got in touch with was Startup Grind. And, it was just kind of like such a good match. And, long story short, I ended up going to San Francisco, and I got a job offer from them. Hey, do you want to do this for us in Asia? Do you want to like really build up the brand and like connect the people what you're already doing? Do you want to do it officially underneath our organization or under our brand? And I was like, hell yeah. So it wasn't a mission. It just happened.
That's really cool. And some of the most interesting adventures start this way with the serendipity, where you're kind of the right person in the right place, right time, and that strikes. Yes. I know there's a great Chinese saying my girlfriend wrote down for me. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it basically says that. So I don't know very much, but I do understand that OTEC is basically, as you were saying, it's this Chinese entity that's job is to help the startup community interface with the government and to function here within Beijing. Is that right?
Yeah, probably you could say, or we could say that it's an entity, it's a company that helps even startups from all over the world to land in China, right? To give them support, to give them access to information, maybe provide support when getting visas, opening offices, and stuff like that.
Very cool. And Startup Grind, how big is Startup Grind in general? I mean, I know it's a worldwide organization.
Startup Grind is big.
Yeah.
So Startup Grind right now, currently, as we speak, I think we have around 400 cities globally. So we started in Silicon Valley, but now we are basically worldwide organization and community. In Beijing, what is interesting, because we're in Beijing, like Beijing is one of the most active cities for us in the world. And that's something that wasn't a case 1 year ago or maybe 18 months ago. So I'm extremely proud of the team and what they accomplished, and also like the energy that is in China in general when it comes to entrepreneurship and events and stuff. Like China just wants to get shit done.
Well, and I've been aware of Startup Grind as a brand, as a name
Yes.
in the back of my brain, but honestly, other than kind of the obvious meaning of the words, I wasn't familiar with it. I didn't know the history. I didn't know the origins. And when I went to my very first event, which was the event with Steve Hoffman, interviewed by my friend John Artman, I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm beginning to understand. I thought this was a Beijing thing. I thought Startup Grind was actually specifically Beijing because the event was packed. You had Cheers. You had, I forget who the food sponsor was. I think it was some local restaurants there. In San Antonio, but it was this fantastic event, a lot of people in a great space, and it rocked. It was clearly an ongoing thing. It was this was not some like, here's our first event and where do we get the folding chairs. It was very organized. So Beijing, you're saying, is actually one of the most active, but it's actually this huge international organization.
It is. Like we started in 2010 already in Silicon Valley, so we have been around for some time. I think we're one of the oldest kind of communities or companies or organizations that have been in this entrepreneurial space, organizing a lot of different conferences and events and stuff like that. So that's for sure. But yeah, Beijing is a very interesting case because we actually used to do stuff here before, let's say like 5 years ago. We used to have people that were organizing events, but our organization works on a volunteer basis, right? So the people that we have in Beijing, they're not our full-time employees. It's not a business. They just do event once a month. Of course, now they're much more active and they do more, but it's not usually the case. Usually the case is that guys get on board. They're passionate about entrepreneurship. They want to get stuff done. They want to connect with other people, with peers that are in the entrepreneurial world, and they do event once a month. And so they just do it in their free time. They do it maybe with 1 or 2 people that they have on the team. And so we did this in Beijing before, but then it kind of faded away because those people got busy and we didn't have anybody else to take over after them. And we were pushing so hard, like, hey, we need to find somebody. Beijing is one of the most important cities in the world when it comes to entrepreneurship. And so we ended up finding Jelte and his team now. And that's why it's so crazy now. That's why it's so active, because those guys are dedicated. They love it. They learn, they build it, and it's just theirs.
Well, and Yelta's sitting, he's not on the mic, he's over there on the couch laughing at us. But how long has Yelta been involved in this?
I think it hasn't been, already. It was nearly 2 years. Okay, I didn't know. I thought it was less, but nearly 2 years. Okay.
Fantastic. So you were responsible for that event that I was referencing with Hoffman.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, it's very well done. What would you tell people who are not familiar? What is really the mission of Startup Grind? I mean, is it that the mission of this event yesterday is kind of related to the whole thing, right? Connecting mentors and startups and investors, things like that.
The very general mission, the big picture mission of Startup Grind is to help every single founder on earth. Basically, and help can have many, many forms, right? It can be just introducing them to one person that can help with their business, introducing them to you. Maybe they can jump on the show. They can, have a blast or make a splash in the world, when it comes to like just people getting to know them. Or it can be introducing them to an investor, or, interviewing them as Steve on the stage and giving them exposure, and even allowing them, those speakers, those people, those hosts, those guests, to educate other people, right? So the help can have many, many, many different ways, but it's just really about providing value to people that are interested in entrepreneurship and building this huge network of like-minded people like Jelte all over the world. They do it in their ecosystems, in their cities, and they're just super passionate and they wanna help. So that's the mission. We do much more right now. We have evolved as an organization, and we're kind of evolving every single month, every single year. So we do big conferences as well. We run our startup program, which means that we actually kind of like a boot camp for startups if they want to get better at pitching, or they're trying to figure out their business models. We can help them. We have a large network of investors and speakers that we can engage, and we can connect them with corporates or whatever. So we do many different things, but we're still trying to figure out what we can do maybe in China, because China is such a specific market.
Well, that's what I want to talk about specifically, because I'm assuming that your volunteers, what would make sense, of course, the volunteers are themselves entrepreneurs, are involved in some part of the startup ecosystem from some angle of it. That's why you would volunteer and be part of such an organization. And obviously that's your angle. So you're looking to build things. What is your specific role? What do you see as your role here in China specifically? And what interests you about it? Why are you so fired up about it? And this is not an infotainment informational. This is not an infomercial kind of a show, but you're wound up, and I love it. So please go with you be you.
Thank you. No. I absolutely get it. I don't want to promote Startup Grind just talk about it. Like, I think the startup ecosystem is interesting, and there is more players than us. And we collaborate with them. We work with many different organizations that have the same mission, and we're very open about it, and we push it. And we're actually one of the few organizations that actually want to do it like that. But basically what excites me about China is that, when I first got here at the end of 2014, that was the time that actually this started happening, right? Like, Chinese government decided we need to push entrepreneurship. We need to push innovation. We're going to support our students, our universities. We're going to build incubators, co-working spaces. We're going to give them financial support and whatever else they need. And, so it was a good timing for us. And like, through that, I learned that like the things can really happen. quickly, and so that excites me about China, that like I want to figure out like how we can be part of that equation and what value we can bring, because you need to bring value. It's not just because you have a brand and because you're an American company doesn't mean anything. Like you need to be on the ground, you need to have the right people in the team, you need to have the right strategy, you need to have the right value that you bring to the table and to those people that you engage with. And so I'm just trying to figure it out. And like people here in Beijing, they help us a lot because they try many different things that we have never done anywhere else in the world in our community. So for example, hosting these kinds of events with organizations like OTEC, or hosting like hackathons for community builders and trying to educate other community builders, trying to train volunteers and then supply those volunteers to different organizations and give them opportunities through that. So we're just trying many different things, and we'll see what's gonna stick. Like I just feel like now China and Asia as a whole is where it's happening, right? Like there's a lot of attention. People want to get to know more about these markets or this region. They just want to see where the opportunities are. And, I just think this is exciting time and exciting place to be.
What do you see that China has to offer that's unique for people to learn from? Because there's a lot of conversation, a lot of credence given to what China needs to learn from America, or this or that, the other source. And of course, they've really come into their own in so many ways, and they're innovating in certain ways. What do you see about the way things work in China? I mean, the frustrations are numerous to people from the outside world, and we've covered that a bit in the show in other ways with other people. What do you see as some of the advantages of the way they do things here, and how can that help founders around the world?
Yeah, so I would, at the beginning, before I start digging deeper, I think I'm living in this, and we're living in this entrepreneurial bubble, right? So when I talk about China, I talk about entrepreneurs and people that I spend most of my time with. So, I just want to make sure that people understand it, because it's different, right? Like,
exactly.
Like
we're not talking geopolitics. We're not talking finance. We're talking
So when we talk about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship in China, first of all, it's definitely the work ethic. Right? Like people work super hard here. They're not comfortable. If they want to build a successful business, if they actually want to build a unicorn, they really work hard. Like today, what happened? We're sitting in a coffee shop. We're having a meeting on Sunday. On Sunday, we have a meeting with a person that works for a big company, and he just wants to talk business. Like it wouldn't happen in Prague. It wouldn't happen in Europe, right? Another example, we sit in the very same coffee shop. And I just like randomly, like a person that I have connected with on WeChat, he walks in, and he's a co-founder of Ofo, like one of those like a unicorn bike sharing companies. And whatever you think, it doesn't matter what you think about these companies. But he walks in, and I'm just sending him a message like, was it you? Because we never met in person, we just connected. I was just sending him a message. Was it you, man? Like, did you just walk into the same coffee shop? And because he disappeared right away, it was like, yeah, I was there. Did you, like, were you there too? And like, yeah. And I'm like, we should meet up. Like, we should catch up. I'm in Beijing for like next, like maybe 12 hours. Like maybe we can have a drink or something. And he's like, no, man, sorry. I don't have time. Like I have like six meetings lined up already this Sunday, like I'm just so busy. So like this is something. And again, like, I'm not saying that everybody is like that, but many people around me are hard workers. And this is something that you would not see anywhere else. Yeah, so this is the first point. Maybe you can jump in if you want.
That is very typical of how things kind of tend to work here. And there was a great quote. The specifics escape me, but essentially, I think it's Jeff Bezos who was talking about basically work-life balance is kind of a rumor, and it's more of a cycle. Yeah. We had a way to put it. And especially here, and that's been a frustrating thing for me too, because I'm not in the entrepreneur space per se. Yeah. I know it well. I have a lot of friends who live and breathe it, so I'm familiar with it. And plus, I talk to people, and some of whom on the show. So, like for me, I mean, my WeChat, I'm ignoring it at a certain time. I mean, I have mental office hours now. They're 7 days a week, and they go way later in the night than anyone back home would think is rational. Yeah. But that's me with some boundaries. But there aren't. But in China, people sometimes expect you in certain industries that they expect. If they have a wild hair at 3 a.m., they have an idea that, and they WeChat somebody that they're going to get a response. My response is in the morning when I'm having my coffee.
No, and everybody is different. And again, I don't judge anybody. And like, you should definitely work the way, like, you're most productive, right?
Well, I have the latitude to do that. If you're trying to build one of these tech companies, that's not even, they're laughing at that right now.
No, but no, you're right. Like, my WeChat, like, I'm sometimes extremely surprised when I message somebody, like 10 p.m. And I'm not messaging them because I expect they reply right away. I just do it because I just don't want to...
You're trying to drop in the note before you forget.
Exactly. I don't want to... Because many people don't actually have... Well, I don't even know. Many people do have notifications, but like I know that a lot of people around me, they don't even have notifications and they just like check it, right? I just drop it sometimes there, just like not expecting a reply, but I get it.
Yeah.
And like people are actually, I need this. And like it happens in my circle like all the time. And so this is definitely something like startup entrepreneurs should learn if they actually want to build successful companies, because you cannot build a company on from 9 to 5 schedule. It's just forget about it.
Exactly. And sometimes it's the co-founder of OFO who's got 6 meetings on Sunday.
Yes.
But he gets right back
Of course. Like it's a different story. Like it's a $1 billion company. They raised a lot of money. They have a lot of people that are actually waiting for them to deliver. So there is a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. So it's different, but it's just like, it blows my mind, right? Like I have been in the startup world for maybe 6 years. Even before coming to China, I worked for this Rocket Internet company. We build ventures, whatever. And like, you couldn't see this in Czech Republic. Like people actually want to just switch off on Friday and want to have a weekend. And again, I don't judge it. It's fine. But then you will probably not going to build the multi-billion-dollar company.
Well, look, you are tight on time today, so this will be a lot shorter than normal. But we'll have you back on when you're ready to launch the next unicorn, or to promote the next event where people are trying to make that happen.
No, absolutely. No, let's definitely do it some other time. I'm sorry about the time, but you should have that guy that is sitting on the sofa behind me as well.
Oh, he's the guy telling me you got to go.
Yes, I know, but at the same time, you should have him because he has a lot of insights when it comes to entrepreneurship, especially the China side and Beijing. And I don't know if he's keen on doing it because he's kind of low key kind of guy.
He's giving you the thumbs up on that. Listen, I'm going to put information in the show notes. Where should people contact you to find out more about your startup grind or anything else? And I'll put the links in as well.
Thank you so much. So I'm very easy to find online. Like my social media channels, everything is at Your China Guy. So that's my personal brand. So if you go and search,
that's you.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
If you
I
go,
looked for that at one point.
If you go and if you search,
taken.
Yes. If you go and search on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, you can find me there. And honestly speaking, that's the best way to reach out. If you even want to send me an email, you can do it. You can do it too. It's jan@startupgrind.com. I'm very open with my inbox. I try to reply to everybody if it makes sense. If the request makes sense, I will always reply. So just hit me up. Happy to help.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, yeah.
Thank you so much, man.
All right, that's the show this week. Don't forget to find out more about Jan or find out ways to contact him. You can check the links in the show notes. You can search him on pretty much all social media as Your China Guy. Pretty great handle, right? Thanks again for listening. I'm Brendan Davis, and I'll see you next time.